Here are some of the biggest myths about microlock. By the way, my shirt says big hair don't care. That was back from when I was loose natural and my hair was pretty big. One myth about microlocks is that they break easily. Not true. Your foundation certainly needs to be strong, and you certainly need to take care of the length of your lock as your hair grows out, ensuring that anything that could be weak is strengthened, that you're getting your nutrition, that you're doing all the things that you would typically do to ensure that your hair, nails, skin, everything are flourishing the way that they should, but they do not break easily unless you are doing things or not doing things, neglecting your hair in a way that would cause them to break easily. No different than relaxed hair, natural loose hair, or any other hair if you are not taking care of it from the inside out. The next myth about locks is that they are not clean. Look, locks, braids, relaxers, weaves, wigs, if you are not cleaning them, then no, they will not be clean. I will tell you that many lockers that I know tend to wash their hair more now that they are locked than they did when they were not locked, whatever style they had prior to their locks. I am someone, you've heard me say it before, I tend to wash my hair weekly, with the exception of when I am traveling, which will sometimes take me to week 2. I just happen to be someone, even when I was relaxed and loose natural, I was washing once a week, more so because of my scalp and nothing more. But you keep them clean just like you would any other hairstyle, and they will be clean. The next myth is that microlocks are time consuming. Can they be? 100%. But what I will tell you is that typically with microlocks, the time has more to do with the period of time when you're ready to retighten. So if you are DIY or going to a loctician, that time frame is when you're going to spend the most time on your locks. Other than that, it's really not time consuming. I will tell you, even washing my hair once a week, I tend to curl my hair or roll my hair in whatever method I'm going to roll it, or like now have a twist out. I will put the twist in or the rollers in, and it's done until I prepare to wash it or until it's time to wash. In terms of my retightening, yes, my retightening, I am a DIY person. It takes a long time. I tend to do it over a period of days. If you are someone who goes to a loctician, you may take 3-4 hours, I would assume, for the most part, or for most people, to get your locks retightened. But outside of that, that's really it. I would assume that people who would be going to get braids, especially if they're smaller braids, who are getting weaves or sew-ins, that timing, I would assume, is just as much, actually longer, I would assume, as well as the upkeep in between, because I think there is curling and other things from an upkeep perspective that you're doing with other styles that may take a bit longer or be a bit more time consuming than with locks. My point of view, I can't really speak with certainty towards other styles, but the time consuming part about locks is mostly when you are at the retightening phase. And if you're someone like me who does not retighten a great deal or very often, it's really not as big of a deal. I will go, I don't even want to tell you, because I always say don't do what I do. I can go quite some time without retightening my locks, and it's not recommended by any means, but it works for me. The next myth about microlocks is that they have to be started with a perfect grid, and that just is not true. I think that in the earlier days of many people finding out about microlocks and sister locks and the tinier side of locks, there was an assumption that there had to be a perfect grid, meaning the squares or sections of hair that made up the micro lock, that they had to be perfect, measured perfect, all the same all across and all of that. Not true at all. I know people who have started with literally just grabbing tiny sections of hair, and in the end it kind of all ends up being the same. Yes, I'm sure that those who started with a perfect grid and whose loctician may have ensured that that grid remain, their grids may still be intact and look great, but in the end, I don't necessarily see where it impacts anything very much in comparison to those who don't have a perfect grid, or who do still have their perfect grid over a number of years. The next myth about microlocks is that they cost a lot to maintain. Look, I cannot tell you that it costs a lot to maintain locks. I compare it to other styles and I just can't see that. Now, for your installation, yes, if you are going to a loctician to get an install, it's certainly going to be a pretty penny, especially depending on where you're located, if there is a lot of competition or not, if there are people who are considered master locticians, or if you're getting sister locks and compared to braid locks, or in comparison to micro locks in general, or locks started with twists, I should say. Yes, the cost is going to be a bit high during that install phase. However, your maintenance of getting your locks retightened, if you're going to a loctician, I don't feel like that is much at all in most places. There could be some outliers if you happen to be in a fairly remote location where there are not a number of locticians to choose from. There may be a handful who have a premium on what they charge, but in general, no, I don't feel like it's a lot to maintain. Again, that's relative, but I think about what I hear people say. They pay to get braids and again twists and wigs and weaves and all those things. From a cost perspective, I just don't see it as a comparison. Again, based on what I know, living in a larger city where there are many locticians. And of course, if you are a DIYer like myself who does their own retwists because it's preference, then the cost associated is even less. The next myth is that microlocks are not versatile. I completely disagree. There are those of us like myself who I don't do a whole lot with my locks. I wear them straight. You will see them sort of kinky, coily like this from a twist out, and you will see me in curls. I'll wear it up, down, bun, high bun, low bun, side bun. I don't do a whole lot with my locks, but there are people who are serious about styling their locks, and I love to see it. I'm just not that person. Overall, it is as versatile as you want your locks to be. And the last myth is that you have to cut your locks if you have micro locks instead of taking them down. I can tell you that you can, in fact, take micro locks down if you choose to. Many people cut them out because it is a huge labor to try to take larger locks down. So just imagine what it would be for micro locks when you've had them for quite some time. But no, you do not have to cut your locks. You can, in fact, take them down if you choose to do so solo, or going to a loctician who is skilled in doing so as well. That's it. Those are the myths.